I love you.
What is going on, everybody? This is Mike Hughes, and you're listening to Mike on the Mic and everything Chicago sports related podcast. It is it is March 21st, 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, we are less than a week away until MLB baseball and Chicago Cubs baseball is underway. Can't wait to get into it. But tonight, we're talking Bears. We're talking Chicago Bears football. We're going to be breaking down the X's and O's of everything we got going on. We got some great topics for you guys tonight. We got some new inside info about what the Chicago Bears running backs core doing this offseason together, already getting started working out together. It's going to be really exciting to break that down, unpack so much more. But if you haven't already, make sure you smack that follow button. Make sure you share this out. Share it to a friend who loves Chicago sports or just loves the Bears and football in general. We're going live every single day talking X's and O's, talking Chicago Bears football. So let's get into it. First and foremost, breaking it down, we see DeAndre Swift and Roschon Johnson, RB1 and presumably at some point RB2, working out together, getting some reps in. If you saw the video I posted not too long ago, you see those two working out. They're really just working on their footwork, working on their juking ability and their athleticism and stamina. So it's really cool to see those two get after it. Did not see Khalil Herbert in that video whatsoever. I don't know if he just wasn't invited or if he just couldn't make it. I don't know the situation. I'm not reading too deep into it. You see a guy like Roschon Johnson, coming out of Texas, sitting behind Bijan Robinson after losing his job to him, comes into the Chicago Bears organization. He reminded me a lot of a Jordan Howard, a hard hitter. He's a stick hitter. He's definitely going to be a ground and pound guy, not an every down back from what we've seen thus far. Kind of similar to Khalil Herbert, and I'm excited to see how he could potentially learn from an elusive player and an athletic player, kind of a human joystick in DeAndre Swift, who we saw at Georgia, absolutely phenomenal. Just really hasn't been able to do that consistently at the NFL level, but we've seen good spurts of him throughout his tenure so far in the Detroit Lions organization and the Philadelphia Eagles organization. So I love those two working together. I love seeing those two just picking the brain of each other and seeing how they can continue to be better and be a great 1-2 punch for the future. Obviously, Khalil Herbert's on a 1-year deal right now. They're 1 year remaining, I should say, on his rookie deal. So, I don't expect them to retain him for the 2025 season. This will likely be his final year. So it's very wise of DeAndre Swift to take him under his wing because DeAndre knows he's going to be here for 3 seasons at minimum. And then obviously you have a situation with Roschon Johnson where you never know. You know what I mean? You never know what you're going to need or how available a guy like DeAndre Swift is going to be. You're going to need the ground and pound, eat yards guy in Roschon Johnson. So that's the guy you're going to have his back. You know what I mean? Appreciate everybody tuning in. Appreciate everybody being here. Make sure you tap that like button. Make sure you hit that follow button if you haven't already. Definitely does help our stream out a lot. With that being said, though, I think it's great. You know what I mean? Like, I think seeing DeAndre Swift and Roschon Johnson working out with each other this early is great for the Bears right now. And so we're live right now, so we can talk about other things as well. We're just having a Bears after dark session. The Titans bringing in Snead is crazy. Trading a 3rd-round pick for Snead, who was one of the biggest faces of the defense in 2023 for the Kansas City Chiefs. So I'm curious to why that happened. I'm curious to why they even felt like they couldn't bring him back. I would have loved to see Snead be a part of that organization for years to come. But in the comments below, man, let me know how you guys feel. We're going to keep talking Bears, of course, but let me know how you guys feel about the Titans right now. Are the Titans a lot closer than people think, or is it all going to come down to Will Levis being, whatever he is, the deciding factor to whether they have success or not? Because if he has success, I could see them winning 9 games or more this year. If he's a bust, like I presumably assume he's going to be, I think, they're going to be limited from 5 to 9 wins. You know what I mean? We got a couple comments in here as well from Michael. Bears done in free agency. I would assume so. I would assume the Bears are likely over with free agency. I don't see there being a lot of big moves after this, especially because we don't really have the draft capital to make anything else happen. If anything, I think they bring in some depth pieces. And that's really the big question here. But we got a fun one for you guys tonight, man. We're going to talk about it. We're going to break it down. Let's take it back to 2018. The Chicago Bears defense led by Vic Fangio and Khalil Mack. The 2018 Chicago Bears defense or the 2024 Chicago Bears defense, led by Matt Eberflus versus Vic Fangio. Obviously, bringing in Kevin Byard. You have guys like Tyreek Stevenson, Jalen Johnson, Montez Sweat, TJ Edwards, Terrain Edmonds, and company. Who do you think statistically has the better season? Now, I want to say this first and foremost. Top 2 run stopping defense in the league last year for the Bears, led the league in interceptions. They're just going to continue to get better, bringing in Kevin Byard, bringing in a new pass rusher, whether it's Jared Verse, Dallas Turner, whoever. Um, a lot of people have mixed emotions. Some people say 2018, some people say 2024. We got more 2018s right now. I believe we're 2-1 2018. So yeah, definitely comment below. Who do you think is going to have the better defense, 2018 Bears or 2024 Bears? I think there's a reasonable conversation for there to be a debate. I would lean more towards the 2018 Bears just because I believe they have more depth. When we talk about even guys like Nick Kwiatkowski, I would start Nick Kwiatkowski over, I'm talking 2018 Nick Kwiatkowski over Jack Sanborn today. You know what I mean? So I think there's levels to it. I think it's going to be interesting. And yeah, we definitely heard Snead going to the Titans. Would have loved for the Bears to be able to grab a guy like Snead, but I do love our secondary that we already have. And a 3rd-round pick is wild, especially with that price tag that comes next to him. But it's interesting. It's very interesting to see what's going to potentially happen with the Tennessee Titans. But as for the Bears, man, we see Roschon Johnson and DeAndre Swift, like we talked about, working out together, really feeling each other. We see Keenan Allen hanging out with Caleb Williams at the pro day. It's a lot of fun, man. It's a lot of fun to really break down who these guys are going to potentially be, the relationship that they already have with each other, and what could potentially continue. We bring in Keenan Allen and DJ Moore. If they take Rome Odunze or Malik Neighbors or Brian Thomas Jr. at number 9, or if God blesses the Chicago Bears and somehow, some way, Marvin Harrison Jr. falls to 9, which he won't. But if he did, you know what I mean? Like, the young wide receiver that we bring in from this draft class, whether it's later in rounds or in the first round, are going to learn from 2 greats in DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. So I'm excited for that as well. Really breaking that down though and having a conversation before we get our last couple of topics in here for the night, because we don't got too long. Just talking about it, chopping it up with you guys. Breakout player of the year, I should say, for 2024. Who is your 2024 breakout player of the year for the Chicago Bears? Like, give me that right there. What? And somebody said, why would you want DJ Keenan and Michael Harrison or Marvin Harrison Jr.? I think the big thing for me, while we wait for the comments of people saying, who their breakout player is, why you want, whether it's Marvin or whether it's another wide receiver, why you take one at 9 if available. You understand that DJ Moore is on a super cheap deal right now. He signed with the Carolina Panthers. And now he's going to be here until the end of the 2025 season. So you expect him to get a payday. At this point, I would say DJ Moore is somewhat frustrated with the Chicago Bears organization. If Caleb works out, that's perfectly fine. If he doesn't, I think DJ Moore is definitely going to want the bag. You know what I mean? DJ Moore is definitely going to want to get paid. DJ is definitely going to want to be in a situation to where he can win or get hella money. And I think right now, you understand that Keenan Allen is on a 1-year deal. We don't know if he's going to resign. He's made it vocally clear, clear as water. You know what I mean? That he wants to get paid. So by bringing in a rookie wide receiver, what you're doing is you're giving Caleb Williams a run mate who from start to finish in their rookie deal are going to be together. Just like how you see kind of Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, kind of evolve throughout time. So it's cool to see that happen. And it's cool to see them in this position, kind of like Waddle and Tua, young guys with young receivers. You want those things to happen for them because it's important. It's very important, especially when they continue to build that chemistry, continue to trust each other. And then, of course, you have a young wide receiver who's learning from some of the best to do it, some of the best route runners, some of the best explosive guys in DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. More physical, I should say, than not as explosive, but more physical. But yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what they do with number 9. You know what I mean? And if guys like Roman Malik or Brian Thomas Jr. are available, that's awesome. If you end up with Jared Verse or Dallas Turner or Fashanu or somebody like that, that's fine too. Some people said Kyler Gordon. Some people said Dexter, as it pertains to most improved player of 2024. I would say here's where I'm at. I think Tyreek Stevenson is the most improved player, even though he had a great season this year. I think he takes that next step. I think he's a second team All Pro. I think he has the capability of being a lockdown corner in this league alongside Jalen Johnson, and I'm really excited to see what Tyreek Stevenson can offer. I think this is a huge year for Tyreek, and I think this is going to solidify the Chicago Bears as one of the better secondaries in the entire league. I think Tyreek Stevenson is one of one. I think he has the potential to be better than Jalen Johnson, if I'm going to be completely honest. And that's not to put the two against each other. You know, Jalen's gotten paid and Tyreek has 3 years left on his rookie deal. So, you know, they're just going to continue to run together and be one of the more dynamic cornerback duos in the league. You have a guy in the slot, in the nickel spot in Kyler Gordon with Kevin Byard, who's picked off Mahomes and Allen and so many greats, Herbert, Prescott, I mean, all of them. And then you have obviously a hit stick and an absolute monster in Jaquan Brisker. So the Bears might have one of the better secondaries in the league. We can take a wide receiver next year. You could take a wide receiver next year, but this wide receiver class is far better than next year's class. And with that being said, it kind of, if you're Ryan Poles and you're trying to extend Keenan Allen, you're trying to extend DJ Moore, and you already have a wide receiver who's here and present. Let's say the Rome Odunze falls in the Bears' lap, right? You have this situation to where Rome Odunze is now one of the better wide receivers in the Bears core, one of the younger prospects in the Bears entire system. And you look at Keenan Allen and you're like, listen, if you want to be here, cool. But if not, we got this guy right here. So you're not going to sit here and ask us to break the bank. You know what I mean? I rock with Keenan. I think Keenan's a great wide receiver. There's no doubt about it. He's talented. He's one of my favorite wide receivers of the last 10 years. He is an underrated Mike Evans-esque player as it pertains to guaranteed 1,000 yards a season. You know what I mean? Super physical. He's one of those guys that's going to command a locker room, and I love that about him. But at 32 years old on a 1-year deal, if you think that bringing in Keenan Allen is going to hinder my decision to taking Malik Neighbors or Rome Odunze, you're out of your box. You know what I mean? Like, we need the future. You need to line Caleb up with the future. And like I said, DJ Moore is a free agent after 2025. Caleb's here till a minimum of 2028. 2029. So you need to make sure you have a run mate who is solidified and can be that guy. You don't want a situation like the Los Angeles Chargers, a perfect one right there. You know, Mike Williams is hurt. Keenan Allen's hurt. Now you got to trust Johnson and Palmer and all these other guys because you know, even now, we don't even have to talk about the Chargers. Velus Jones, Tyler Scott, Chase Claypool. You could see how quickly wide receivers that you can draft just don't pan out, or guys you trade for just don't pan out. So it's important. It's definitely very important. You know, I see the comments there definitely locking up DJ too. Yeah, I would hope so. I would definitely hope so. DJ's on a very cheap deal right now, a relatively cheap deal that he signed with the Carolina Panthers in 2022. So I'm curious to see what kind of payday he's looking for come 2025, 2026. And especially right now, let's be real. He's not the happiest guy in the room. He just said business is business. He was very vocal about wanting Justin Fields. He just had a career year with him. If Caleb Williams doesn't pan out, I could see a frustrated DJ Moore saying, you guys got to pay me to stay here. You know what I mean? And I think, or maybe he just wants to leave so he can win. So, and if Caleb Williams pans out, it's a different conversation. But you know what I mean? As it states right now, I would say the future is very, very uncertain on DJ Moore. But with that being said, we're going to get into one of our final topics of the night. So make sure you smack that follow button if you haven't already, because we're going live all day tomorrow. Matt Eberflus. Is Matt Eberflus on the hot seat if the Bears don't make the playoffs this year? Tap in the comments below what you guys think. Personally, myself, I would hope not, just because we've seen in history's past how a situation goes where we look at what the Bears did. Look in the history of the Bears and what they've done. You draft Mitchell Trubisky with John Fox as the head coach. After his rookie year, you fire him. You know, you draft Justin Fields with Matt Nagy as the head coach. After his rookie year, you fire him. So are you going to draft Caleb Williams and after his rookie year, you fire Matt Eberflus. Like it's a revolving door of consistent bullshit. Brandy, how we feeling? Brandy, shoot me a text when I get out of here because I have to. I meant to text you back about the NCAA stuff and the why am I blanking right now? I literally was just March Madness. But yeah, definitely shoot me a text. I have to talk to you about something. But with that being said, though, I think Flus is in a situation right now to where I've been there the entire time. I like Flus the person. Flus the head coach for the Chicago Bears and bringing in Caleb Williams, I just didn't like it. I wanted Brian Dable. I wanted a Jim Harbaugh. I wanted somebody who I believed would come here and stay here. There's a problem, and here's the big problem. When you talk about continuity and bringing it in the football team, it's far more than just locking up players. Jay Cutler with the Chicago Bears in 8 seasons had 6 offensive coordinators. And you're going to tell me he didn't pan out because he didn't care. Jay didn't care because every time he learned a fucking playbook, it was different the very next year. So you know what I'm saying? Like, and it was always somebody who was incompetent of doing so. So I think for me, what I want to see is continuity. What I want to see is consistency from an offensive coordinator. If Shane Waldron turns Caleb Williams into the next Tom Brady, the next Patrick Mahomes, that's cool. But now I know that Shane Waldron is likely going to get a head coaching job. He's worked with Bill Belichick. He's worked with Sean McVay. He's worked with Pete Carroll. And now he brought the Bears back from the dead. Like it's going to go down that way. And then you have to have a real conversation. Do you fire Matt Eberflus and make Shane Waldron the head coach? And I would honestly do that if that was the situation, because as much as I love Eberflus and as much as I loved Lovie Smith and as much as I've loved all the defensive minded head coaches we've seen in the past, one problem remains the same is you never have a consistent offensive coordinator. Look at right now, Sean McDermott of the Buffalo Bills. You lose Brian Dable, things look shaky. Look at Nick Sirianni. You lose your offensive coordinator to the Indianapolis Colts. Now things look shaky. And that's what happens when you have a DC as your head coach. You don't have that continuity. Defensive players, defensive systems. I'm not trying to shit on any defensive coordinator. I was a defensive coordinator myself and a defensive player. But with that being said, you understand that it's a system. You know what I mean? And they're all relatively the same system. There is no Buddy Ryan, 46 defense anymore. They're all relatively the same. So you could definitely replace a defensive coordinator very easily compared to an offensive coordinator. But yeah, if somebody said, who you talking to, bro? Ball on right now. Hey, bro, listen. Not my team. My team's not on right now. So I'm waiting for Dawn Staley and them dogs to go after it in South Carolina. But with that being said, man, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I appreciate y'all for being here. Make sure you smack that follow button. Pump this out anywhere to anybody who you think loves Chicago Bears sports or just Chicago sports in general. Until then, I'll check you guys out later. This is Mike Hughes, aka the Shy Kid. You are listening to Mike on the Mic. Check y'all out later. Be safe. Have an amazing weekend. Peace.